So one of the difficult things when you're talking about kids with disabilities is bullying is those circumstances in which you might suspect that your child, or you might suspect as an educator that a child who has a disability is actually perpetrating the bullying or is targeting other kids. Or sometimes maybe isn't targeting other kids, but because of their disability, their behavior is such that they may not understand the inappropriateness of certain actions that they're doing in school. And in this day and age with zero tolerance policies all over the place, I have had so many clients, Julie, over the years get themselves into a whole heap of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Because they did something inappropriate that was what I would call a manifestation of their disability, meaning that the reason that they did it was in part because they had this disability. And yet here they are in deep trouble. And so it's important, it's a difficult thing for a parent to grapple with if they suspect that their child is actually the one who is perpetrating the bullying. And I've had many clients say to me, you know, I feel terrible for these other kids, or I feel terrible for the parents of these other students, but it's a really hard thing to address. And so it is much harder in some ways than dealing with it if you're the parent of the child who's being bullied, because then, you know, people are sympathetic to you, at least on some level. If your child is the one who's actually getting into trouble and hurting other kids, or either physically or otherwise, then, you know, you may not feel like you have the sympathy of your school district or the team when you want to help and you want to address the situation. So we're here to give some ideas on that.
And the point is, just as if your child is being bullied, if your child is the bullier, it's just as appropriate to do all that investigation through evaluation and determining what are the skill deficits which are causing the child to do inappropriate things that is being perceived as bullying. Okay? So it's just as important to address the issues if your child is the bully as it is if your child is being bullied. And on that note, I think that I think one of the things that happens so often with kids who have disabilities is they've been bullied. They say nothing. They internalize. And then all of a sudden one day they lose it and they pow. Who's going to get blamed in that case?
The kid,
the person who took who gave the hit. And so you have circumstances by which you've just reached your point that you can't take it anymore, and you do become the person who's done the bullying. But then on the other hand, it may just be a case where they're inappropriate. They don't understand how inappropriate they're being, but nonetheless, that behavior needs to be addressed as well.
And that's a difficult thing, because as the parent, you may be saying, you know, that's self-defense. My kid's been taking it all this time, and nobody's been doing anything about it, and he finally fought back, and good for him or good for her. And I hear that, and you know, it still needs to be addressed. Whether one punch constitutes bullying is, again, one of those legal definition questions, right? But it's one of those situations are rarely as neat and easy as we'd like to imagine them to be, and we have very few devils and angels in our schools. It's really, people are a little bit of both, and you have a lot of nuance to it. And so yes, you want to be addressing it through the individualized education program. As a parent, you may need parent training on it. There are all sorts of ways in which, when your child may be the one who's perpetrating some of the difficult behaviors, that you want to make sure that you're on top of it as well. And, you know, and if it means that you're getting resistance from your school district, you want to say, I'm trying to assist you in making this a better situation for everybody.
And, you know, in the case where the child takes it, and pow, an appropriate IEP goal in that circumstance might be that the child will learn to advocate when he does feel like he's being abused. So he's not internalizing. And so you're teaching the skill to go to an adult, to tell the parents about it when they get home, or whatever the case may be, so that you're not getting to that explosive point.
Because that's the thing. It's this long fuse with a massive explosion. And unfortunately, I mean, the stakes really couldn't be higher on this subject, because we know that many of the kids who perpetrate, you know, violent crimes against school districts are kids who were targeted. In fact, I think the statistics are that most of those kids were targeted and bullied until they snapped. So we want to make sure that we intervene well before the point where someone snaps.